Good morning, guys. This is day 2 of our restart session 1 English. And in the session, I'm பார்க்க போகிறது first of all, this is like from today we have 5 days for our board exams to start, and it's a very ideal time to start our preparation in a more directive, in a more vigorous, in a more focused manner. So before that, we'll have to have a quick glimpse of what our question paper has, how we'll have to answer the questions. So for that, we'll have to know what the questions are gonna be. So I mean, like the blueprint, what is the format of the questions. So let's first analyze that part. Now we'll check for the syllabus, and then we'll move on to what we are gonna do today. So first of all, we'll start with section A. Section A has reading skills with 22 marks. The 22 marks in which the first question is gonna carry 12 marks. So the 12 marks implies that we'll have about 12 questions. The question can either be MCQ type or objective type, a short answer type question. A short answer type question will have to be answered in about 40 to 50 words. And then we'll have a case based or factual based passage question. All these both these passages put together will have about 700 to 750 words of word limit. That's all it's gonna be. So the only thing which we can influence at this point of time is that this reading, how fast we are able to read it, and how fast we are able to analyze the questions, and that's going to be the important part, and that's the only thing we can influence as of now. Apart from that, writing as quick as possible is also well and good. That will also help us in our examination. Moving on from there, we are having a section B which carries 18 marks of creative writing skills. Creative writing skills, it's gonna be no, like it's we'll have our notice writing, the first type of question, in which we'll have to present our answer in about 50 words, in which the format carries a mark and the accuracy carries a mark and the content carries 2 marks obviously, and a grand total of 4 marks is awarded, in which we'll have a choice of 1 out of 2, which means that's fine. Like we might have a notice for either for a school or for certain organization in our like locality, something like that. That's how they're gonna have two different questions. And the next one is gonna be a formal or informal invitation. So it's one will definitely be a formal because we'll have one question to be answered out of two. So it might be one in a formal format and another one in an informal format. And then from there on, like yeah, from there on we are having letter writing. The letter writing will carry a 5 mark with a format carrying a mark, and the ideas having a proper um, organization will have a mark, and the content will carry a 2 mark. It might include application for a job type of letter, which will be like in which we'll have to include the resume or letter to an editor. Anything is gonna be fine, and I think that's how we'll have the choices, because we'll have to answer 1 out of 2 in about 120 to 150 words. Organization of ideas is more important. And then finally we are having the article rating or report rating. So article rating அப்படின்றது generally will have we are having a 5 mark of article rating, in which the format carries a mark, the content carries 2 marks, and so on. We'll have to basically analyze a given topic in a more descriptive, detailed manner from the start, from the scratch, taking it to a dip, digging deeper into the middle, and finally giving a proper conclusion. That's gonna give us a 5 marks in total. So in the particular section like all we can have an influences வந்துட்டு the format, எப்படி எழுத போகிறோம் அப்படின்ற ஃபார்மெட்டுன்றதில் நமக்கு இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் இருக்குது கண்டிப்பாக. அண்ட் அக்யூரேசி அண்ட் ஸ்பெல்லிங், கிராமர், தட்ஸ் ஆப்வியஸ்லி வி ஹாவ் அன் இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் இன் இட். ஸோ கண்டென்ட் அப்படின்றது நமக்கு கொடுக்குற கொஸ்டினை பேஸ் பண்ணி தான் அந்த கண்டென்ட் நம்ம என்ன ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ண போகிறோன்றது இருக்கும். Apart from that, we'll have certain model questions as well. Like they've they've given it's gonna be either a job application, resume, or something like that. which means that practicing questions depending on that will actually reap us very good amount of marks. Only thing is that practicing beforehand will save us certain time in the examination, not to think much in the examination, or else we'll have to take much time in thinking and then writing the answers, which is not gonna work in board exams. So இதுதான் வந்துட்டு like that's how we'll have to secure the 18 marks. The format, the organization, and then accuracy in spelling. All we have to create in our examination is just the content, and writing speed is gonna influence as well. And then we have the third part. Third part is gonna altogether give us a 40 mark, the grand total of 40 mark. So it's completely dependent upon the NCERT textbooks we are following, the Flamingo and Vistas. So the first three type of questions is gonna be completely comprehension type questions, which is going to carry a total of 16 marks. அதாவது அந்த பர்டிகுலர் சாப்டர் ப்ராப்பராக ரீட் பண்ணி ஒவ்வொரு மீனிங், ஒவ்வொரு லிட்டரரி டிவைஸ், ஒவ்வொரு லைனோட அர்த்தம், அண்ட் like what they're trying to interpret, how is it given in the play, like is it a humorous way or an ironical way, or it is in a more descriptive way. All these things, these analysis, it's gonna give us about 16 marks in our board exams beforehand. So reading the text properly and understanding the meanings properly will give us about 16 marks. All we'll have to do is read 5 poems, 8 lesson, 8 prose part, and 6 for long reader part. And then we have two type of questions, short answer type questions, in which the first one is going to be from Flamingo, and we'll have choice of 6, 5 on 6, which means that we'll have 6 questions from a total of 5 poems and 8 prose part. I'm sure that 3 questions are going to be from poem and 3 questions are going to be from the prose part, obviously, and we'll have to answer only 5, which means preparing all the 5 poems can, like, it can lead us to get about 6 marks. Might be the case, it might be the case, I'm not sure, but yeah, that could be the case probably. And then we have the short answer type questions from Vistas. Like we have 5 chapters to be read, in which we'll have to just give our response in like a precise manner by just analyzing the situation and giving our opinion in a more deep, like more accurate and a precise manner. That's gonna give us 4 marks, like from 5 chapters. I hope we have 5 chapters in which we'll have to go answer, like we'll have 3 questions in which we'll have to answer 2 questions, and I think that's not a difficult task. We can do that as well. Then we have long answer type questions. That's the final part of this particular question paper, which is going to carry a total of 10 marks. The first question is going to be from prose or poetry part. Like we can either answer a question based on 5 poems or based on 8 prose part. I think like reading the 5 poems and having a good understanding about the theme, analyzing the theme, and extrapolation on that particular topic, it's gonna help. And I think, yeah, that's how we'll have to answer the first one. The second one, obviously we'll have to read all the chapters from the Vistas textbook to answer the question, but it's not going to be that difficult because the questions will be based mostly upon the theme, certain situation, and analyzing that situation. So that's how we'll have to answer the questions. So இதில் 40 மார்க் என்பது நம்ம கையில், like it's solid if we have prepared properly. And the 18 marks of the creative writing skills is also well and good if we have practiced well. And the only influence we have on the reading skills is that reading it properly, reading it quickly, reading faster, and understanding it efficiently in a very less time, that's gonna help. ஸோ இதுதான் வந்துட்டு நம்ம லைக் பேப்பர் செட்டிங். This is how it's gonna be. And we have the syllabus over here. So basically in Flamingo prose partல நமக்கு I think about we have 8 chapters. Last lesson, Last Spring, Deep Water, Rat Trap, Indigo, Poets and Pancakes, Interview on Going Places, and then poetry part. So poetry part, like as we have seen that we have a comprehension question, we can answer 3 short answer questions and 1 long reader questions. It's more of importance. like reading the NCRT properly, understanding the theme, having the meanings and literary devices for each and every line, every word given, and finally analyzing the theme in a more precise and deep, like precise manner if it is asked for a short answer, detailed manner if it is asked for a long answer. We'll have to be getting ready for both type of questions from all these just 5 poems, and I think we can secure about 6 plus 6 plus 5, and that's about 17 marks. That's of 14 marks, and I think that's a pretty easier task to do. Yeah, so that's fine. I think 17 marks can be expected from you. And then from vistas, just reading the NCRT, having a theme in our mind, and going through the character sketches, and analyzing each and every character, the theme, the plot, every part of this particular chapter will like lead us about 4 marks in comprehension, and 4 marks in short answer type, and 5 marks in long answer type, which is about 13 marks. So we have already secured 17 plus 13, that's 30 marks from our visitors. Just 6 chapters and 5 poems, and altogether and just 10 marks will be dependent upon the prose part. So this is how the assessment is going to be. My assessment is this. So like we are yesterday நம்ம டைகர் கிங் அப்படின்ற பர்டிகுலர் சாப்டர் கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணோம். Now we are entering in sequence into the journey to the end of the earth. So yeah, that's how it's gonna be. இதுதான் வந்துட்டு நம்மளோட பேப்பர் அனாலிசிஸ் ஃபார் த டே. Okay, so we are entering into journey to the end of the earth. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay, so I think having the explanation sideways will also help us. Maybe we will have certain critical words. Okay, yeah, yes, fine. Journey to the end of the earth. Tishani Doshi, I don't know, I think this name is called like it is something weird. Fine. So Tishani Doshi is the author of this particular chapter. Let's see what he or she is written. Okay, fine. Before that, I think having it aside, like, yeah. Before you read, if you want to know more about the planet's past, present, and future, the Antarctica is the place to go. Bon voyage. Okay, so what they're trying to say is that if we'll have to know about whatever our past was, whatever our present is, and whatever our future is gonna be, we'll have to go to Antarctica. Why? It's because it is the only place in the universe, I mean like in the world, where human inhabitation has not occurred to a greater extent. I think it was never occurred to by far to my knowledge. So there was no human existence in this particular place, which means that a lot of ancient terrestrial animals, their fossils could also be retrieved from this particular Antarctica continent. And there might be certain other bacteria that might be trapped under this particular Antarctican subcontinent, and the future will be dependent upon Antarctica's glaciers, because the more it gets dried up, the more it gets melted, the more will the rise in sea level. So obviously the after effects will definitely be sure having I mean கண்டிப்பாக நம்ம சைட்லேயும் அதுக்கான ஒரு எஃபெக்ட்ஸ் இருக்கும். ஸோ நம்மளுடைய பாஸ்ட், ப்ரெசன்ட் மற்றும் ஃப்யூச்சர் அனைத்தை பற்றியும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு அண்டார்டிகா இஸ் ஒன் பிளேஸ் டு கோ அப்படின்ற சொல்லலாம். So early this year, I found myself aboard a Russian research vessel, the academic Shokalsky. So there's a certain term called academic Shokalsky. I think it's an important term to be noted. I'm not like, we'll move on from here. Heading towards the coldest, driest, and windiest continent in the world. Okay, so basically he or she, like I will have to Okay, in the beginning, basically the author he's talking about like he's going to a certain place in a Russian vessel, the academic Shikalsky. The Russia he's describing it as one of the coldest, driest, and the windiest continent. I mean, to the world, the Antarctica. So basically, he's talking about Antarctica. They are basically heading towards Antarctica, which is described as most coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world. My journey began 13.09 degrees north of the equator in Madras and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and at least as many ecospheres. So basically, the author he's moving in a Russian research vessel. I think I don't know what a research vessel is meant by literally. So he's moving in a Russian research vessel called Academic Shikalsky towards Antarctica, where he's beginning his journey from Madras. So he is accurately pointed out the latitudinal address, that is 13.09 degrees north of the equator, through which he was subjected to cross about 9 time zones. He'll have to cross அதாவது 9 time zones, 6 செக் பாயிண்ட் கிராஸ் பண்ண வேண்டியது, 3 பாடிஸ் ஆஃப் வாட்டர். லைக் he had to cross, I think, the Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, and the Antarctic Circle Ocean, something like that, and at least as many ecospheres. Ecospheres implies that he had seen a lot of other different environments while crossing these points towards Antarctica. By the time I actually set foot on the continent, Antarctic continent, I had been traveling over 100 hours in combination of a car, an aeroplane, and a ship. So, my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expansive white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief, followed up with an immediate and profound wonder. ஸோ அதாவது ஆத்தர் வந்துட்டு he or she, the author, let's say the author had to travel about 100 hours to reach Antarctica, either through car, through aeroplane, or through a ship, all in combined. He had to travel for 100 hours, and as soon as he reached there, Antarctica பார்த்த உடனே அவருக்கு வந்த முதல் தாட் என்னதுன்னா he was relieved. ஒரு he was relieved, and he was in wonder. அவர் ஒரு ஆச்சரியத்துக்கு உள்ளாகிறாரு அங்கே போனதுக்கு பிற்பாடு. Wonder at its immensity, its isolation, but mainly at how there could ever been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same land masses. ஸோ ஆத்தருடைய வியப்பு என்ன அப்படின்னா, பேசிக்கலி இதோட இம்மென்சிட்டி, லைக் ஹவு, ஓகே ஃபைன், its isolation. First of all, it is isolated from whole of the world. It's different from whole of the world in terms of the landmass itself, the geographical position, as well as from the ecosystem. Like Antarctica ecosystem, it is completely isolated from that we have seen in our other parts of the world, and mainly at how there could have been and he's wondering whether India and Antarctica, how it could have been at the same land mass அப்படின்றத வியப்பூட்டாக இருக்குது அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்கிறாங்க. Moving on from here, part of history. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent, Gondwana, did indeed exist, centered roughly around the present-day Antarctica. ஸோ அதாவது 650 million years ago. So that's about 650 million years ago. So there was an amalgamated southern supercontinent. Amalgamated in the sense it's basically like solid and liquid put together. That's basically a chunk that's being joined together as a whole. The Gondwana is what we are naming it as, the chunk. That's the supercontinent, the southern supercontinent, and it was existed before 650 million years ago, and it was centered around the present day Antarctica. That's what data say. So things were quite different then. Humans had not arrived on the global scene, and the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. ஸோ பேசிக்கலி இந்த பர்டிகுலர் டைமில் வந்துட்டு like whatever the things were now or now, it was not that it was present in the previous days. அதாவது முன்ன இந்த பர்டிகுலர் டைம் 650 million years ago இருந்த டைம், அந்த டைம் லைனில் இருந்த ஈகோ சிஸ்டம் என்வைரான்மெண்ட்டுக்கும் இப்போ இதுக்கும் நிறைய டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் இருக்குது. அந்த பர்டிகுலர் டைமில் ஹியூமன் சிவிலைசேஷன் அப்படின்றதே கண்டிப்பாக ஏர்த்லேயே கிடையாது. கிளைமேட் வந்து ரொம்ப வார்மராக இருந்தது. ஏன்னா எர்த் வாஸ் அபவுட் லைக் I'm not aware of the exact dates, but yeah, that's how it is. Earth is basically some years old, and it was very young at that particular time, so it will obviously be warmer, and it hosted a lot of flora and fauna. A lot of animals and plants, creatures were created at that particular point of time. For 500 million years, Gondwana thrived. But around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of the mammals got underway, the landmass was forced to separate into countries, shaping the globe as much as we know today. So basically என்ன நடக்குது அப்படின்னா, like 500 million yearsக்கு வந்து it stayed as the same continent, subcontinent. ஆனால் like as time passed after 500 million years, like it was the time when the dinosaurs got extincted, a lot of meteoritical attack happened on Earth, and the mammals got under, which means the mammals came out of existence from being very small creatures. ஸோ இந்த பர்டிகுலர் டைமில் தான் வந்துட்டு இந்த கோண்டுவானா அப்படின்ற அந்த லேண்ட் மாஸ் கம்ப்ளீட்டாக லைக் இட் இஸ் டிஸ்இன்டிகிரேட்டிங் இன்டு லைக் காண்டினென்ட்ஸ், டிஃப்ரெண்ட் காண்டினென்ட்ஸ் like the Asian, Australians, African, American continents and Antarctic obviously. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி வந்துட்டு பிரியறதுக்கான நிலைமை வந்துட்டு it happened about after 500 million years of the Gondwana thriving. So that's what he's trying to say. So to visit Antarctica now is to be a part of that history, to get a grasp of where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. ஸோ இப்போது அண்டார்டிகாவுக்கு வந்ததுக்கான காரணம் என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னா, பேசிக்கலி லைக் டு நோ அபவுட் வாட் ஹேப்பன்ட், like if we have to know about the history, like what could have happened, what earlier happened and what might happen in the future, இது எல்லாத்தையும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும் அப்படின்னா கண்டிப்பாக அண்டார்டிகா அப்படின்ற இந்த பர்டிகுலர் காண்டினென்ட்டுக்கு போகிறது இட்ஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் டு நோ அபவுட் what things are, what the timeline is going to be. So it's to understand the significance of the Cordilleran folds and Precambrian granite shields, ozone and carbon, evolution and extinction. அதாவது there is something called as Cordilleran folds, Precambrian granite shields, to know about these, the ozone, to know about the ozone, to know about the carbon, to know about how things have evolved from being like, let's say for the Homo sapiens, we were like Homo erectus before that, and like we evolved from there on to Homo sapiens. Yeah, that's how it worked. And extinction, similarly there are a lot of other evolution stories for other species existing now as well, and there were species present but now they are not present, that's they have extinct now. So to know all to know இதை பற்றி நான் ஒரு நல்ல புரிதல் வரணும் அப்படின்னா கண்டிப்பாக அண்டார்டிகா செல்வது ரொம்ப முக்கியம் அப்படின்றது ஆத்தர் சொல்கிறார். ஸோ வென் யூ திங்க் அபவுட் ஆல் தட் கேன் ஹேப்பன் இன் அ மில்லியன் இயர்ஸ், இட் கேன் கெட் பிரிட்டி மைண்ட் பாக்லிங். அதாவது நம்ம கடந்த 1 மில்லியன் வருஷத்தில் என்னென்னலாம் நடந்துச்சு அப்படின்றத தெரிஞ்சு கொள்ளும் பொழுது, லைக் என்னென்னலாம் லைக் டைம்லைனில் என்னென்ன மாற்றங்கள்லாம் நிகழ்ந்தது, இப்போ ப்ரெசன்ட் டைமில் இருக்கிறதுக்கும் அந்த 1 மில்லியன் இயர்ஸில் ஒரு ரேப்பிடாக நம்ம என்ன நடந்துச்சுன்றது ஒவ்வொரு விஷயமாக தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டே வரும்பொழுது அது ஒரு வியப்பூட்டுற விஷயமாக இருக்கும். இமேஜின் இந்தியா புஷிங் நார்த்வர்ட்ஸ், jamming against Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalayas, South America drifting off to join North America, opening up the Drake Passage to create a cold circumpolar current, keeping Antarctica frigid, desolate and at the bottom of the world. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள் இப்போ பேசிக்கலி இந்தியா அப்படின்றது இட் வாஸ் புஷிங் நார்த்வர்ட்ஸ். ஆக்சுவலி இட் வாஸ் அ பார்ட் ஆஃப் ஆஸ்திரேலியா, and for millions of years it was just disintegrating due to the tectonical plate movements, and it started moving towards some way towards the north. It moved, and at a particular point of time, due to the collision with the Asian subcontinent, the drift created the Himalayan mountains, the buckle its crust. So that's what they're trying to say, and that's how India was formed. And Similarly, the American continent, it drifted to form to the north to join the North American continent, and that's how the American continents were like opened, which opened up the Drake Passage, and altogether Antarctica, it was frigid, it was desolate, which means it was isolated, and at the same time it was at the bottom of the world. இது எல்லாமே it happened in a million years அப்படின்றத தான் சொல்லுவாங்க. For a sun worshipping South Indian like myself, 2 weeks in a place where 90% of the Earth's total ice volumes are stored is a chilling prospect, not just for circulatory and metabolic functions, but also for imagination. ஸோ அதாவது என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னா, ஹீஸ் a சவுத் இண்டியன், ஸோ ஆப்வியஸ்லி he will be exposed to a lot of sun. In India we'll have only 2 seasons, one is the summer and the rainy season. Even in the rainy season we'll mostly be under sun. So obviously a place where he's not even able to like comprehend the sun's heat, that's how it's chill, that's how chill it is, because over 90% of Earth's ice is present completely in Antarctica, which means that it's going to be chilling experience. Chilling in the sense, not only in that he's feeling the chill, not only it's cold in weather, but as well as in the imagination, how we are imagining it. Like it's like staying away from sun, very far away, not even exposed towards sun. It's something chilling in the sense, it's like ஒரு டைப் ஆஃப் பயம் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி சொல்லலாம். That's how it is. It's like walking into a giant ping pong ball devoid of any human markers, no trees, billboards, buildings. So basically, in a giant ping pong ball, into a giant ping pong ball, like we have ping pong ball is a table tennis ball. So basically what he's trying to say is that walking in a place where there is no sign of humans implies that there might be some billboards, there might be some buildings, or at least a tree grown will show habitation of a certain species. ஆனால் அந்த எந்த ஒரு விஷயமே இல்லாத ஒரு இடத்துல நடந்தால் எப்படி இருக்கும் அப்படின்ற ஒரு மாதிரியான ஒரு எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸை வந்துட்டு, ஒரு இமேஜினேஷன் பண்ண முடியாத ஒரு எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸை வந்துட்டு ஆத்தர் அங்கே எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்காரு. யூ லாஸ் ஆல் earthly சென்ஸ் ஆஃப் பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ் அண்ட் டைம் ஹியர். அதாவது நம்ம earthly சென்ஸ் அப்படின்றது என்ன சொல்கிறோன்னா, இந்த மெட்டீரியலிஸ்டிக் லைஃப், அதில் பேஸான அனைத்து விஷயங்களுமே வந்துட்டு இந்த இடத்துக்கு வந்துட்டு கம்ப்ளீட்டாக இருக்காது அப்படின்றத சொல்கிறார். Like for example, let's say we are waking up, we are taking bath, and we'll go to an office or a school, something like that will happen, and we'll have to earn money, we'll have to pay our rent, pay our bills, pay our food, pay for our food, and finally we'll have to sleep somewhere. We'll have a home, we'll have certain dress. These are certain earthly perspectives, and this goes on in a certain timeline, starting a day from morning 6 going till night 10. This will be the timeline for an earthly person who's not living in Antarctica. A person who's going to Antarctica will lose all these senses, literally everything. The visual scale ranges from the microscopic to the mighty, midges and mites to the blue whales and icebergs as big as countries. The largest recorded was the size of Belgium. ஸோ விஷுவலி, அதாவது லைக் கண்களால் பார்க்க முடியாத அளவு ஆன ஸ்பீஷி இல்லை இடங்கள் அப்படின்றது வந்துட்டு ஒரு சின்ன மைக்ரோமீட்டர் அளவில் இருக்கிற ஒரு உயிரினத்தில் இருந்து ஒரு பெரிய ஜைண்ட் ப்ளூ வேல் இல்லை ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய கண்ட்ரி அளவுக்கான ஒரு ஐஸ்பர்க் அளவுக்கான சில விஷுவல் ஸ்கேல் ரேஞ்சஸ்க்கு வந்து இங்கே கிடைக்கும் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. தட்ஸ் ஹவ் த ரேஞ்ச் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ் ஆர், ரேஞ்ச் ஆஃப் சைஸஸ், வாட் எவர் இட் இஸ். டேஸ் கோ ஆன் அண்ட் ஆன் and on in surreal 24-hour austral summer light and ubiquitous silence, interrupted only by the occasional avalanche or calving ice sheet. I think marking certain words is gonna help me out, so I'll just mark it out. I think avalanche is breaking of ice or something like that, I'm not sure. Surreal is one critical word I can see over here. Consecrates the place, calving the ice sheet, immersion, okay, yeah, prognosis, and yeah. So we saw about the visual scale. Days go and on in surreal 24-hour austral summer light and ubiquitous silence, that is silence that is pervasive. That's we can, like, pervasive means like it is everywhere. That's what they're trying to say. Carving ice sheet, which means that the splitted ice sheet, that's what they're trying to say, and consecrates the place. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி சின்ன சின்ன விஷயங்கள், லைக் ஒரு இந்த பர்டிகுலர் இடத்துல 24 மணி நேரத்தில் கம்ப்ளீட்டான சம்மர் லைட் இருக்கிற இடத்துல we are having a very, like, silence, complete silence everywhere, and we are having occasional avalanche, which means snow slide occurring there, here and there, and we are having drifting of ice sheets, and all these things make the particular place sacred, புனிதமாக மாற்றுது அப்படின்ற மாதிரி சொல்கிறாங்க. It's an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the Earth's geological history. Okay, and for humans the prognosis is not good. So basically, ஸோ இந்த பர்டிகுலர் பிளேஸ் அப்படின்றது இட் ஃபோர்ஸஸ் அஸ் டு ஃபோர்ஸி த ஃப்யூச்சர். அதாவது ஃப்யூச்சரில் வாட் குட் ஹேப்பன், வாட் மைட் ஹேப்பன் இன் த ஃப்யூச்சர் அப்படின்றத லைக் கண்டடிக்கிறதுக்கான ஒரு முக்கியமான இடமாக இது இருக்கிறது. அண்ட் இந்த இடத்துல இது நம்மளை பொருத்தி பார்க்கிறது அப்படின்றது லைக் ஹியூமன் ஹிஸ்ட்ரியை பற்றி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது, எர்த்தோட ஹிஸ்ட்ரி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறது, எர்த்தோட ஜாலஜிக்கல் ஹிஸ்ட்ரி அப்படின்றது தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு இந்த பர்டிகுலர் இடம் ஒரு ஃபோர்ஸ்ஃபுல் ஃபேக்டராக இருக்குது. அண்ட் இதெல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சுட்டு நம்ம ஃப்யூச்சரை ப்ரெடிக்ட் பண்ண பார்க்கும்பொழுது த ப்ரக்னாசிஸ், த அவுட்கம், லைக்லி அவுட்கம் ஃப்ரம் த பாஸ்ட் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்சஸ் அப்படின்றது இட்ஸ் நாட் குட் அப்படின்றத சொல்கிறாங்க. ஸோ பேசிக்கலி என்ன நடக்குது அப்படின்றது ஜஸ்ட் ஒரு குயிக் கிளிம்ஸ் பார்ப்போம். ஸோ இனிஷியலாக ஆத்தர் ஹி ஸ்டார்டிங் ஃப்ரம் மெட்ராஸ், 13.09 degrees north of equator in Madras, and he is moving towards the coldest, driest, the windiest continent, that's Antarctica, through a Russian vessel called Academic Shekalsky, through 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, three different bodies of water, and at least as many ecospheres. These are the things that's happening, and it was about 100 hours of journey. And as soon as he reached Antarctica, he had a sigh of relief and wonder. He wondered how could this particular continent be a part of amalgamated subcontinent, southern subcontinent named the Gondwana, and something like that, how it could have been a part of the India and Antarctica could have been under the same landmass, something. That's how he was wondering. So talking through the history, we are having a description about how there was a continent named Gondwana, in which all the continents, every continent in this world were uh, amalgamated, that means concentrated together as a single landmass, which prevailed for 500 million years. But after 500 million years, it eventually got destroyed and disintegrated into several continents, now creating a lot of the countries that we know in globe today. So like visiting Antarctica at this particular point of time, or any particular point of time, will give us what happened at any particular timeline, whether it is in the past or in the present, or what could happen in the future, near future, can also be predicted by visiting Antarctica. Like to understand the Cordilleran folds, Precambrian granite shields, ozone, carbon, evolution, extinction, to get to know about everything, to get to know about how India was a part of Australian continent and moved northwards towards the southern continent and creating Himalayas while clashing with the Asian continent. Similarly, the South America joining with the North America, opening up the Drake Passage, creating a circumpolar current, and also keeping Antarctica frigid, isolated, under the country, under the world. It all was discovered from here. And imagining these things happening in a million years, like it's tremendous. And to get to know about all these things from a place, and that's the place to go. That's what the author says. And apart from that, he's giving a vivid description of how he's feeling at Antarctica. Like he's a person who is exposed to sun literally every time, but here he is in a very chilling experience. Like even though the sun's light is present, he is in a very cold weather that it's chilling his metabolism. It is lowering down every actions that's happening in his body, since the temperatures are really low. And at the same time, it is also it's a chilling experience of imagination for the particular author. It's like walking into a place where there is no marks of human beings and something like that, and getting to know about like he was able to see visually about a large range of things, like starting from a very microscopic organism to a range of a blue whale, or even a country sized iceberg, something like that is also present. Seeing these things like really tremendous, and that's how he's describing it. And moving into that, in a sunlight where a place of it is described as a place of complete silence everywhere, in which there are occasional landslides, I mean snowslides occurring, with drifting of ice sheets happening. These things makes the place sacred, or something புனிதமாக மாற்றுது அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. And this particular immersion, it just forces us to know about the timeline of our earth. And because these things can easily be discovered from Antarctica, which means it obviously forces us to know about this particular place, and foreseeing the likely outcomes, it's not good, as we have seen from Antarctica. So that's the summary for the pages we have read. Moving forward, human impact. Human civilizations have been around for a paltry 12,000 years. So basically, humans are not that old species. So it's just very insignificant. Like in front of a million, 12,000 is not a very big deal. So basically, it is present there for about 12,000 years. I'm just writing off the meaning. It's just insignificant in context of this particular session, I mean point of time. Barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In terms of the geological clock, from birth of earth, if we have like if we are calculating with respect to the timeline of earth and its birth, it's gonna be a very little time. So in that short amount of time, we have managed to create quite a ruckus, etching our dominance over nature with our villages, towns, cities, mega cities, and something like that. So basically, ruckus implies that a row, something like we are dismantling it, disintegrating it. அதாவது ஜஸ்ட்டு நம்ம லைக் ரொம்பவே ஒரு சில நாட்கள் வாழ்கிற ஒரு ஸ்பீஷி நம்ம ஜஸ்ட் 12,000 இயர்ஸாக தான் ஐ மீன் எக்ஸிஸ்ட் ஆகிட்டு இருக்க ஒரு ஸ்பீஷி ஒரு குயிக் அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் டைம்லேயே ஒரு மிகப்பெரிய ஈகோ சிஸ்டத்தையே வந்துட்டு கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணக்கூடிய அளவுக்கான ஒரு நேச்சர் கொண்டிருக்காங்க. தே ஹவ் எச்டு த டாமினன்ஸ் by creating some villages, towns, cities, megacities, something like that. The rapid increase of human populations has left us battling with other species for limited resources, and the unmitigated burning of fossil fuels has now created a blanket of carbon dioxide around the world, which is slowly but surely increasing the average global temperature. ஸோ பேசிக்கலி இங்கே என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னா, ஹியூமன் பாப்புலேஷனோடைய ரேப்பிட் இன்க்ரீஸின் காரணமாக, லைக் இட்ஸ் இன்க்ரீஸிங், the populations are increasing, the medical facilities are also improving, which means that the death rate is decreasing. So obviously the population is becoming more and more, which means that we will run short of resources, because only we are having only a limited amount of resource. And for that case, we are fighting with other species for the resources. That's what the author tries to say. And for that, even we are having we are burning fossil fuels which has created a blanket of carbon dioxide, which means the emission of fossil fuels, I mean carbon dioxide from burning fossil fuels has surely created a lot of disimprovement in the air conditions. It is surely increasing the global temperature as well. So now we are entering into global temperature, it seems. Okay, fine. Climate change is one of the most hotly contested environmental debates of our time. Will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt entirely? Will the Gulf Stream ocean current in disrupted? Will it be the end of the world as we know it? Maybe, maybe not. ஸோ பேசிக்கலி லைக் climate சேஞ்ச் அப்படின்றது இப்போது கரண்ட்டாக மிகவும் வாதத்திற்குரிய ஒரு விஷயமாக இருக்கிறது, என்விரான்மெண்டல் டிபேட்டாக இருக்கிறது. அதாவது நமக்கு வெஸ்ட் அண்டார்டிக் ஐஸ் ஷீட் மெல்ட் ஆகுமா, கல்ஃப் ஸ்ட்ரீமில் இருக்கிற ஓஷனுடைய அளவு அப்படின்றது லைக் மாறதுக்கான வாய்ப்புகள் இருக்கிறதா, இல்லை இதெல்லாம் நடக்கிறது மூலயமா நம்மளுடைய உலகம் அழியறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்கா அப்படின்றது பார்க்கும்பொழுது இருக்கலாம், இல்லாமல் இருக்கலாம். Either way, Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate, not just because it's the only place in the world which has never sustained a human population, therefore remains relatively pristine. Pristine in the sense, I think it's isolated, unspoiled. That's what they're trying to say. I'm just writing down the meaning. Unspoiled. But more importantly, because it holds in its ice cores half-million-year-old carbon records trapped in its layers of ice. If we want to study and examine the Earth's past, present, and future, Antarctica is the place to go. ஸோ அதாவது இது எல்லாமே பார்க்கும்பொழுது கண்டிப்பாக அண்டார்டிகா அப்படின்ற பிளேஸும் வந்துட்டு இந்த climate சேஞ்ச் அப்படின்ற டிபேட்டில் ஒரு முக்கியமான பங்கு பெறும். காரணம் என்னென்னா, நாட் ஓன்லி பிகாஸ் இட் இஸ் அன்ஸ்பாயில்ட் டியூ டு ஹியூமன் பாப்புலேஷன். ஏன்னா இங்கே ஹியூமன் பாப்புலேஷனே வந்து இனிஷியல் பாயிண்டில் வந்து கிடையாது, ஆஸ் ஃபார் அஸ் டேட்டா தட் வி ஹவ் நோன். But also that it has a lot of carbon records, which means that அந்த பர்டிகுலர் கார்பன் டேட்டிங் மூலயமாக நம்மளால் எர்த்தோடைய டைம்லைனையே தெரிஞ்சுக்க முடியும். அண்ட் அந்த பர்டிகுலர் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஃபேக்டர் வந்து நம்ம அண்டார்டிகாவுக்கு இருக்கின்றது பொழுது அண்டார்டிகா இஸ் த பிளேஸ் டு கோ அப்படின்றத சொல்ல வரோம். Students on ice, the program I was working with on the Shokalski aims to do exactly this by taking high school students to the ends of the world and providing them with the inspiring educational opportunities which will help them foster a new understanding, respect for our planet. So basically, students on ice அப்படின்ற ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் ப்ரோக்ராம் ஆர்கனைஸ்ட் with on the Shokalski. இந்த பர்டிகுலர் ஷோகால்ஸ்கி அப்படின்ற ஒரு டைப் ஆஃப் நிறுவனம், they are basically organizing a program named Students on Ice. ஸோ இந்த பர்டிகுலர் ப்ரோக்ராம் மூலயமாக ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸை உலகத்தோட ஒவ்வொரு மூலைக்கு கொண்டு சென்று உலகத்தோடைய முக்கியமான டைம்லைன் எல்லாம் தெரிய வச்சு புரிய வச்சு அவங்களுக்கு அதுக்கான அறிவெல்லாம் வளர்த்து நம்மளுடைய பூமிக்கான முக்கியமான ரெஸ்பெக்டையும் அதுக்கான புரிதலையும் வந்து தூண்டுதலாக இருக்கிற ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் தான் வந்து இந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் ஆன் ஐஸ். இஸ் பீன் இன் ஆப்ரேஷன் ஃபார் 6 years now, headed by the Canadian Jeff Green. Okay, so we are having a name, I think that's important. So there's a Canadian who is named Jeff Green. ஸோ இந்த பர்டிகுலர் ஆப்ரேஷன் வந்து கடந்த 6 வருடங்களாக சொல்லுது. which is தலைமை தாங்குறவர் அப்படின்றவர், he's a Canadian named Jeff Green, who got tired of carting celebrities and retired rich curiosity seekers who couldn't only give back in a limited way. So அவருக்கு வந்துட்டு பேசிக்கலி he has guided a lot of celebrities, rich people in exploiting these places, but these people doesn't even have they don't even give even a limited amount of things or money towards this particular welfare of our earth. கிளைமேட்டிக் சேஞ்சுக்கு ஒரு நல்ல முன்னேற்றமாக கொண்டு வரதுக்கான எந்த முயற்சியுமே வந்துட்டு இந்த பர்டிகுலர் செலிப்ரிட்டிஸ் யாருமே கொண்டு வரதாக இல்லை. With Students on Ice, he offers the future generation of policymakers a life-changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly, act. ஸோ இந்த பர்டிகுலர் ப்ரோக்ராமின் மூலியமாக வருங்கால ஜென்ரேஷனில் இருக்கிற பீப்புள் who has the ability to learn, அதாவது கற்றுக்கிறதுக்கும் புரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கும் அண்ட் அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரி செயல்படுறதுக்கும் உள்ள இந்த பர்டிகுலர் ஏஜில் இருக்க பீப்புளுக்கு இதை சொல்லித்தரது மூலியமாக நம்ம அர்த்துக்கு ஒரு மாற்றம் நிகழும் அப்படின்ற ஒரு நம்பிக்கையில் ஜெஃப் கிரீன் வந்து ஹீஸ் ஆர்கனைசிங் திஸ் ப்ரோக்ராம் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறான். The reason the program has been so successful is because it's impossible to go anywhere near the South Pole and not be affected by it. It's easy to be blazed about polar ice caps, melting while sitting in the comfort zone of our respective longitude. But when you can visibly see glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize the threat of global warming is very real. ஸோ அதாவது என்ன சொல்ல வராங்க அப்படின்னா, இந்த பர்டிகுலர் ப்ரோக்ராம் ஏன் சக்ஸஸ்ஃபுல் அப்படின்னா, ஜென்ரலாக நம்ம வந்துட்டு லைக் இந்த பர்டிகுலர் இடத்துல அண்டார்டிகாலையோ இல்லை ஆர்டிக் ஓஷன்லேயோ வந்துட்டு இவ்வளோ அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் ஐஸ் வந்து லைக் மெல்ட் ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு, இல்லை இவ்வளோ அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் ஐஸ் மெல்ட் ஆகிருக்கு. ஸோ இந்த ஐஸ் மெல்ட் ஆனதுனால இவ்வளோ எம்எம் ஆர் இவ்வளோ சென்டிமீட்டரில் வந்துட்டு ஓஷன் கரண்ட்டோடைய லெவல் வந்து இம்ப்ரூவ் ஆகிருக்கு, இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகியிருக்கு அப்படின்றத நம்ம ஜஸ்ட் ஆஸ் அ ஃபேக்டாக ஒரு கம்ஃபர்டபுள் இடத்துல இருந்து பார்க்க லைக் கேட்குறதுக்கு இட் வுட் பி ஃபைன். இட் வில் நாட் ஆக்ட் எனி திங் லைக் அதை வந்துட்டு அதை பற்றி நம்ம கண்டுக்கவே மாட்டோம். ஆனால் வென் வி ஆர் டேக்கிங் திஸ் டு லைக் இதை நம்ம போய் நேரில் பார்க்கும்பொழுது, நேரில் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ணும்போது, எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் டீச்சர்ஸ் அஸ் அ லாட் அப்படின்றது அந்த பேசிஸில். ஸோ கண்டிப்பாக இந்த ப்ரோக்ராம் வந்துட்டு எல்லா மக்களையும் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பண்ண வைக்கிறாங்க. தேர் ட்ரைங் டு மேக் தம் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் ஆன் ஹவு திஸ் திங்ஸ் ஹேப்பனிங், ஹவு த ஐஸ் ஷீல்ட்ஸ் ஆர் மெல்ட்டிங், ஹவு த ஐஸ் ஷீல்ட்ஸ் ஆர் கட்டிங் ஆஃப், அண்ட் they are making them realize the importance of global warming and how it is real, how it is happening. ஸோ அவங்க கண்ணு முன்னாடியே ஒரு ஐஸ் ஷீல்ட் வந்துட்டு லைக் கரையிறதை பார்க்கும்பொழுது டெஃபினட்டாக அந்த பர்டிகுலர் லைக் டெம்பரேச்சர் ரீஜன்ஸ்லாம் பார்க்கும்போது they will be like astonished. That's why it is successful அப்படின்ற சொல்கிறாங்க. Antarctica, because of her simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can have big repercussions. So basically என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னா, it is having a very pure ecosystem and it is having no diversity at all, which means that there is no habitation uh, either by plants or by animals, like not by many animals. ஸோ இந்த பர்டிகுலர் சின்ன ஈகோ சிஸ்டமில் தான் நம்ம என்னென்னலாம் லைக் சேஞ்சஸ் மற்ற இடங்களில் செய்கிறோமோ அது எல்லாமே ஒரு மேக்னிஃபைடு வியூவாக இங்கே கண்டிப்பாக பார்க்க முடியும் அப்படின்ற சொல்கிறாங்க. வாட் எவர் த எஃபெக்ட்ஸ் ஆன் என்விரான்மெண்ட் இஸ் அக்கரிங், வாட் எவர் த காசஸ் ஆஃப் என்விரான்மெண்ட் இஸ் அக்கரிங் இன் அ பேட் வே, the after effects can definitely be seen in Antarctica, even if the causes are very small amount in our particular subcontinent. That's what they're trying to say. Take the microscopic phytoplankton, those grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain the entire southern ocean's food chain. These single-celled plants use the sun's energy to assimilate carbon and synthesize organic compounds in the wondrous and most important processes called photosynthesis. ஸோ அதாவது இப்போ வந்துட்டு ஃபைட்டோபிளாங்டன் அப்படின்ற ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் ஸ்பீஷியை பற்றி சொல்கிறாங்க. இட் இஸ் அ பிளான்ட் which is basically obtaining sun's energy, basically sunlight வச்சு it is assimilating carbon and creating, it is doing photosynthesis, it is creating a glucose or something like that, which is going to be a primary chain of primary food item in the food chain for that particular ocean, in the southern ocean. Scientists warn that further depletion in the ozone layer will affect the activities of phytoplankton, which in turn will affect the lives of all the marine animals and birds of the region and the global carbon cycle. ஸோ அதாவது இப்போது ஜஸ்ட்டு ஃபார் இன்கேஸ் ஐம் டூயிங் ஒரு ஃபாசில் ஃபியூவல் எடுத்து இப்போ நான் அதை எரிக்கிறேன் அப்படின்னா கண்டிப்பாக கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு அக்யூமுலேஷன்றது இருக்கும். கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு அக்யூமுலேஷன் இருந்தால் அப்போ கண்டிப்பாக குளோபல் வார்மிங் நடக்கும். அண்ட் அதர் சைட் நம்ம வந்துட்டு சிஎஃப்சி இருக்கிற அந்த குளோரோஃப்ளோரோ கார்பன்ஸ், இந்த ஃப்ளூரினேட்டட் பாலிஹாலஜன் காம்பவுண்ட்ஸை பயன்படுத்துறது மூலியமாகவும் லைக் சில முக்கியமான அண்ட் டிசாஸ்ட்ரஸ் எஃபெக்ட்ஸ் நடக்கும். அண்ட் ஒன் ஆஃப் த எஃபெக்ட்ஸ் இஸ் ஓசோன் லேயர் டிப்ளீஷன். ஓசோன் லேயர் டிப்ளீஷன் நடந்தால் கண்டிப்பாக யூவி லைட்டோடைய எக்ஸ்ப்ளாய்டேஷன் அதிகமாக இருக்கும், எக்ஸ்போஷர் அதிகமாக இருக்கும். அப்போ கண்டிப்பாக யூவி லைட்டோடைய தாக்கத்தினால ஃபைட்டோபிளாங்டன்ஸ் அப்படின்ற ஸ்பீஷியே அழியிறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்குது. ஃபைட்டோபிளாங்டன் ஸ்பீஷி அழிஞ்சா என்ன ஆகும்னு கேட்கும். ஸோ இட் இஸ் த ப்ரைமரி பார்ட் ஆஃப் த ஓஷன் ஃபுட் செயின். இந்த ப்ரைமரி பார்ட்டை எடுத்துட்டோம் அப்படின்னா ஆப்வியஸாக அதை பேஸ் பண்ணி இருக்கிற செகண்டரி செயின் அனிமல்ஸ் கண்டிப்பாக பாதிக்கப்படும். அந்த அனிமல்ஸ் பாதிக்கப்பட்டால் அதுக்கு அடுத்து பேஸ் பண்ண அனிமல்ஸ் பாதிக்கப்பட்டும். அந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு ஒரு பார்ட்டை நான் ரிமூவ் பண்ணிட்டேன்னா கூட த கம்ப்ளீட் ஃபுட் சர்க்கிள் வில் பி சேஞ்ச். சரி ஃபைன், ஓஷனில் தான் இந்த சேஞ்சஸ்லாம் நடக்குது, இதனால் எனக்கு என்ன லாபம் அப்படின்னு லைக் ஐ டோன்ட் கேர் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்கன்னா, ஸோ ஆப்வியஸாக லைக் ஆஸ் இயர்ஸ் கோ நமக்கு எந்த லாபமும் இல்லாமல் இருக்கலாம், லைக் நமக்கு எந்த நஷ்டமும் இல்லாமல் இருக்கலாம். going down 100 years, 200 years, if it continues, obviously fossil fuelsோட அளவு வந்துட்டு ஆல்ரெடி இட் இஸ் டிக்ரீசிங் இன் அ ரேபிட் மேனர். ஃபர்தர் கார்பன் ஃபியூவல்ஸ் அப்படின்றதோடைய டிக்ரீஸ்ன்றது கம்மியாகிடும். ஸோ அப்போ மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த ரிச்சஸ்ட் கண்ட்ரி விச் இஸ் பேஸ்ட் அப்பான் த கார்பன் ஃபியூவல் வில் ரன் அவுட் ஆஃப் மணி, வில் ரன் அவுட் ஆஃப் administration, will run out of economy, and thereby they will also run out of habitation. So finally it will lead to the extinction of other animals. So which means that நம்ம மற்ற அனிமல்ஸோட எக்ஸிஸ்டன்ஸில் பேஸ் பண்ணி தான், அதாவது எல்லா அனிமல்ஸோட கோ எக்ஸிஸ்டன்ஸில் தான் நம்மளோட எக்ஸிஸ்டன்ஸுன்றதும் இருக்குது அப்படின்றத கண்டிப்பாக புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். In the parable of phytoplankton, there is a great metaphor for existence. Take care of the small things and the big things will fall into place. ஸோ இது நல்ல எக்ஸாம்பிள். இதுதான் வந்துட்டு இந்த பர்டிகுலர் கோட்டோட நல்ல எக்ஸாம்பிள், மெட்டஃபரோட. டேக் கேர் ஆஃப் த ஸ்மால் திங்ஸ் அண்ட் த பிக் திங்ஸ் வில் ஃபால் இன் டு பிளேஸ். சின்ன சின்ன விஷயங்களை சரியாக பார்த்துக்கிட்டோம் அப்படின்னா பெரிய விஷயங்கள் தானாகவே நடக்கும் அப்படின்ற சொல்கிறாங்க. நம்ம போடுற சின்ன சின்ன எஃபர்ட்ஸ் கூட ஒரு பெரிய சேஞ்சு கொண்டு வரதுக்கான வாய்ப்புகள் இருக்குது அப்படின்றது தான் பேசிக்கலி சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ ஃபைனல் பார்ட் ஆஃப் திஸ் reader, the supplementary reader. The Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies, but the best occurred just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. So, what is epiphanies? Epiphanies, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, it is striking realization. ஸோ இந்த அண்டார்டிக் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ், இந்த அண்டார்டிகாவுக்கு சென்ற இந்த பர்டிகுலர் அனுபவமே வந்துட்டு பார்த்திங்கன்னா பல உண்மைகளை வந்து உடைக்கிறதுக்கான ஒரு அனுபவமாக இருந்தது அப்படின்றது தான் சொல்கிறாரு. இட் இஸ் அ ஸ்ட்ரைக்கிங் ரியலைசேஷன், பட் த பெஸ்ட் அக்கர்ட் ஜஸ்ட் ஷார்ட் ஆஃப் த அண்டார்டிக் சர்க்கிள் அட் 65.55 degrees south. The Chokalski had managed to wedge herself into a thick white stretch of the ice between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. ஸோ இப்போ என்ன நடக்குது அப்படின்னா, அவங்க வந்து அந்த ரஷ்யன் வெசல் த சொக்கால்ஸ்கி அப்படின்றது, அகாடமிக் சொக்கால்ஸ்கி அப்படின்ற அந்த பர்டிகுலர் வெசல், இட் இஸ் நவ் ஸ்டக்ட் இன் டு பெனின்சுலா, ஒயிட் பெனின்சுலா ஸ்ட்ரெச் ஆஃப் ஐஸ் between the peninsula and the Tadpole Island, which is preventing us from going further அப்படின்ற சொல்கிறாங்க. ஓகே ஃபைன். The captain decided we were going to turn around and head back north, but before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. So there we were, all 52 of us, kitted out in the Gore-Tex and glaze, walking on a stark whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. Underneath our feet was a meter-thick ice pack, and underneath that 180 meters of living, breathing salt water. In the periphery, crab-eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves on the ice floes, much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. It was nothing short of a revelation. Everything does indeed connect. ஸோ இப்போ என்னென்ன சொல்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னா, இந்த பர்டிகுலர் அனுபவம் அண்டார்டிக்ஸ் ஓஷன் அப்படின்ற அண்டார்டிக் சர்க்கிள், அண்டார்டிகா வந்து அனுபவமே வந்துட்டு ஒரு புதுவிதமான ஒரு ரியலைசேஷன், புரிதலை வந்துட்டு உருவாக்கியிருக்கு அப்படின்றத சொல்கிறாங்க. ஆனால் அது எல்லாம் நடந்தது பிற்பாடு அவங்க லைக் ஒயில் இந்த ஜேர்னி ஆஃப் ரிட்டர்னிங் 65.55 degrees சவுத்தில் என்ன நடக்குது அப்படின்னா, அவங்க வந்து அந்த ஷெக்கால்ஸ்கி அப்படின்ற பர்டிகுலர் ரஷ்யன் வெசல், it is just getting stuck into certain peninsula and Tadpole Island. Like it is basically getting closed, it is getting closed, which means that we cannot pass through that passage. அப்போ கண்டிப்பாக they will have to move away, so they will have to move in the opposite direction, so they are moving towards north. ஆனால் அதுக்கு முன்னாடி கேப்டன் வந்துட்டு எல்லார்ட்டையும் லைக் நீங்கள் எல்லாருமே வந்துட்டு உங்களை வில் ஹாவ் டு டூ கிளைம் டவுன் த கேங் பிளாங்க் அண்ட் வாக் ஆன் த ஓஷன். ஸோ சர்டன் கேங் பிளாங்க் அப்படின்னா என்னென்னா அ போர்ட் ஆர் பிளாங்க் யூஸ் டு போர்ட் ஆர் டிஸ்எம்பார்க் ஃப்ரம் அ ஷிப். ஸோ பேசிக்கலி there through the boat, like get out of the ship and walk on the ocean. That's the instruction given by the captain அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. ஸோ 52 பேர் இருக்காங்க அந்த டீமில். 52 பேருமே அவங்களோட கிட்ஸ் எல்லாம் எடுத்துக்கொண்டுட்டு they are basically walking in the whiteness, அதாவது அந்த ஐஸ் மேலே நடக்க ஆரம்பிக்கிறாங்க by wearing their specs, glasses, something like that. So basically Gore-Tex is a waterproof fabric and glares is obviously the sunglasses. So அது எல்லாத்தையும் மாட்டிக்கொண்டு sunglasses ஏன்னா the snow will have a very much shiny property that it will be as bright as a sun. So it obviously can have create vision disparment. So அதுக்கப்புறமா we'll have to have our sunglasses on. So அதை போட்டுட்டு they are like walking underneath and அவங்க பார்க்கும்பொழுது there is a meter thick ice pack. அதுக்கு கீழே 180 மீட்டர்ஸ்க்கு கம்ப்ளீட்டாக ஒரு ஹேபிட்டேட்டே இருக்குது. The habitat is like we are having the flora, fauna, everything that's living is under that particular ice pack. அண்ட் அவங்க பெரிஃபெரி ஆஃப் த கிரிபேட்டர் அந்த இடத்துல வந்துட்டு they are seeing certain சீல்ஸ் என்றால் கடல் சிங்கங்கள் அப்படின்னு சம்திங் லைக் தட் they used to say. ஸோ அதுங்க எல்லாமே வந்துட்டு லைக் சன் பாத் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருக்க மாதிரி சொல்கிறாங்க. ஸோ பேசிக்கலி அந்த குளிர்லேருந்து லைக் வீடு வைக்கணும்னா இந்த மாதிரி சின்ன சின்ன இடங்களில் சன் பாத் மாதிரி நடக்கும். ஸோ இது எல்லாம் முடிந்ததுக்கு பிறகு what the writer was able to connect to us that even the stray dogs does that, but under a banyan tree. Like to get out of the sun, it goes under a banyan tree. Similarly, to get out of the chillness, the guy goes for a sun bath, something like that. So 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres later, I was still wondering about the beauty of balance in play on our planet. How would it be if Antarctica were to become the warm place that it once used to be? ஸோ இப்போ 9 டைம் ஜோன், 6 செக் பாயிண்ட், 3 பாடிஸ் ஆஃப் வாட்டர் அண்ட் பல ஈக்கோஸ்பியர்ஸை தாண்டி, அதாவது நம்ம பிளானெட்டில் இருக்கிற ஒரு பேலன்ஸை பற்றி லைக் ஆத்தர் யோசிக்கிறார். இப்போது நம்ம அண்டார்டிகா அப்படின்றது இதுக்கு முன்னாடி இருந்த மாதிரி ஒரு வார்மான பிளேஸாக மாறிட்டா என்ன ஆகும்? வில் we be around to see it, or would we have gone the way of the dinosaurs, mammoths and woolly rhinos? Who's to say? But after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, all I can say is that a lot can happen in a million years, but what a difference a day makes. ஸோ இப்போ ஃபைனலாக என்ன சொல்ல வராங்க அப்படின்னா, இந்த பர்டிகுலர் அண்டார்டிகா அப்படின்றது வந்துட்டு லைக் இஃப் இட் வாஸ் நாட் லைக் இஃப் இட் வாஸ் நாட் அ கோல்டஸ்ட் பிளேஸ் அண்ட் ரேதர் ஹஸ் பிகம் அ வார்ம் பிளேஸ், அப்போது கண்டிப்பாக என்ன நடந்திருக்கும்? மேபி நம்மளும் டைனோசர் மாதிரி எக்ஸ்டிங்க்ட் ஆகிருக்கலாம், நம்ம இல்லைன்னா பக்கத்தில் இல்லாமல் இருந்திருக்கலாம், வேறு எந்த கண்டிப்பான டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டான ஒரு எஃபெக்ட்ஸ் நடந்திருக்கும். ஆனால் ஃபைனலாக ஆத்தர் என்ன ரியலைஸ் பண்ணுறாரு அப்படின்னா, இந்த பர்டிகுலர் சின்ன சின்ன பசங்க, டீனேஜர்ஸ், இவங்க எல்லாருக்குமே வந்துட்டு தே ஹாவ் த ஐடியா தட் தே கேன் ஸ்டில் சேஞ்ச் த வேர்ல்ட். ஸோ இந்த பர்டிகுலர் ஐடியாலஜி வச்சு நம்ம என்ன சொல்ல முடியும் அப்படின்னா, மில்லியன்ஸ் ஆஃப் இயர்ஸில் என்னென்னா நடக்கலாம், ஆனால் ஒரு நாளில் என்ன டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் நடக்குது, வாட் அ டிஃப்ரென்ஸ் அ டே மேக்ஸ் அப்படின்றது இட்ஸ் கோயிங் டு பி த இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் பார்ட் அப்படின்றத சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ தட்ஸ் ஹவ் தி சாப்டர் ends. So this chapter is completely based on an account on how the author is comprehending the particular place Antarctica, not only the particular place Antarctica, but is with like இந்த அண்டார்டிகா அப்படின்ற பர்டிகுலர் பிளேஸின் மூலியமாக அர்த்தோட கம்ப்ளீட் ஜியாலஜிக்கல் ஃபேக்ட்ஸ் எல்லாத்தையுமே ஃபிகர் அவுட் பண்ணுறது, லைக் லிஸ்ட் அவுட் பண்ணுறது, அண்ட் அர்த்துக்கு அடுத்து ஃப்யூச்சரில் என்னென்னலாம் லைக் சேஞ்சஸ்லாம் நடக்க வாய்ப்பு இருக்குது அப்படின்றத பற்றி பேசுகிற அனைத்துமே இந்த பர்டிகுலர் சாப்டர் மூலியமாக நம்ம ஆத்தர் டிஷானி டோஷி அப்படின்றவங்க சொல்கிறாங்க. ஸோ we will have a quick recap. This is going to be the summary of the chapter. ஸோ அதில் வந்துட்டு ஒரு ரஷ்யன் ரிசர்ச் வெசல் அகாடமிக் ஷோகால்ஸ்கி அப்படின்ற பர்டிகுலர் வெசல் மூலயமாக ஆத்தர் வந்துட்டு இஸ் மூவிங் டுவர்ட்ஸ் அண்டார்டிகா ஃப்ரம் மட்ராஸ் வித் ஃப்ரம் 13.09 Sorry for the interruption. Yeah. So basically, we are starting our journey from Madras towards Antarctica. Antarctica is described as the coldest, driest, and the windiest place in the Earth. From he's starting his journey from 13.09 degrees of north, crossing nine time zones, six checkpoints, three bodies of water, and a lot of ecosystems. Finally, after 100 hours of travel, he's finally able to reach Antarctica and having a sight of relief. And at the same time, he's wondering about Antarctica, how Antarctica and India could have been a part of the same landmass. So from here on, we'll like talking about the landmass. It was initially 650 million years ago. How like the complete continents of the Indian, the Earth, as we know, was all submerged together as a single continent named the Gondwana, which was which after 500 million years disintegrated into several continents during the time in which the dinosaurs became extinct, and during that particular time where the mammals came out of growth. And visiting Antarctica, it has certain significance. All the significance is that it was inhabited, like it was not habitated from the initial part of time, which means that all kind of details that we need from the past can all be taken out from Antarctica, and that turned out to be the significance of Antarctica. Starting to know about the Cordilleran folds, Precambrian granite shields, the ozone, carbon evolution, extinction, everything can be known from Antarctica. So in a million years, it is quite mind-boggling. It is quite mind-boggling that how India was a part of Australia. It collided with the Asian subcontinent, creating a rift, creating the huge Himalayan mountains due to that, and similarly how the South American and North American drifted to join to North America, to join themselves, and how Antarctica was stayed underneath the bottom of the world and isolated. So that's how he's wondering about Antarctica. Moving forward, he's describing about his experience in Antarctica. Like he's saying that like being a person who is always under the sun in the Indian subcontinent, being at a place which is completely chill, about 90% of whole of Earth's ice present in a particular place, where even though the sunlight is existing, the experience is completely chilling experience. So and it's even in imagination, it's turning out to be a very chilling experience. So he's just asking us to imagine how entering into a place where there's no mark of a human, nothing about a human can be seen, and staying at that such a place is going to be really a chilling experience. So he was able to see a lot of visual ranges of animals, starting from a very microscopic animal to an animal blue size of blue whale, to a place of to a, like an iceberg whose size is about the size of Belgium, all these things. And he's describing the place as a very ubiquitous silence, a place of having ubiquitous silence with occasional avalanche. Ubiquitous silence implies a silence everywhere. Occasional avalanche, that means snow slides occurring with carving ice sheets carving away, and consecrates the place. These certain things makes the place more sacred, and entering into these things and exploring these things in Antarctica, getting to know about the past, present, and trying to foretell the future. The author diagnoses that it's not gonna be good, so it's not going. That's what he's trying to say. So now we are talking about how humans have impacted Earth. So basically, humans basically uh, we are just very young species who have been existed only for about 12,000 years. In terms of millions or billions of years, 12,000 is just about second in our clock, day-to-day clock. So even in such a very short duration, we have basically started dominating all over the world by creating towns, villages, cities, and we have created quite a lot of ruckus. So that's what he's trying to say. We have started fighting for resources which is very limited with other species, which are also the species that belongs to Earth. So now entering into the climatic change. So all these things have led to the climatic change, and it is one of the most debatable topics of environment. What will we have debates on what will happen if the Antarctic circle melts. I mean the Antarctic ice sheet melts. So, what will happen to the ocean currents of the Gulf Stream? Will that lead to the end of the world and something like that? Maybe, may not be. These are the certain predictions that's happening. Either way, Antarctica is going to be a crucial element in this debate. So not just because it's the only place in the world. So whatever we are talking about, Earth, there will be a part where Antarctica is going to have an important role. Not because that it's pristine, that is, it is unspoiled by the human civilizations, but it's also a place where there's an existence of a lot of carbon materials which have lasted for years and long, which means that to know about the past, present, and future, Antarctica is one place to go. So finally, like so talking about all these, now the author is talking about how he has reached this particular place. So basically, there's a program named Students on Ice, which is conducted by Jeff Green, a Canadian. Was Okay, who is a Canadian who just like he's in operation for 6 years now. He's just creating awareness to people who are the coming of generation, the future generations, to to get to know about Earth's rich culture, to how it is being exploited now, and how to save it all. And these are the things that these particular students on ICE program does. And Jeff Green started this because he became tired of explaining this to people who were rich, who were not who were celebrities, but though being celebrity or rich, they were not at all involved in the improvement of the Earth's climatic changes or something like that. And then finally, the program, it became a successful program just because that it shows the real picture. It just not says about the data, the facts, whatever happening from an outside world, but it is actually taking people to the southern part or the northern part of the world and showing them what's happening literally. And that's how people will come to know about what's happening to our Earth. Basically, experience teaches us a lot rather than reading a fact or a book. So that's what they're trying to say over here, and that's the main success for this particular program to be successful. So apart from that, here's an explanation about how removal of a single species from a food chain of an ocean that can create an extinction to the whole of the habitation in the world, like by stating the point of phytoplankton, which is an ocean organism, that's a plant which uses sunlight to do photosynthesis. And based upon this particular plant, we have our entire ocean ecosystem. And if this particular plant is disintegrated, it can be disintegrated if it is exposed more towards UV light, and UV light exposure can increase if the ozone layer depletion occurs. And if this species is completely destroyed, then therefore we will have the ocean species will completely destroyed. And finally, obviously, if the ocean species is destroyed in about 200 to 300 years, the carbon accumulation will become less, fossils will come down, then the human resources will also get extincted, and finally the human species will itself become extinct. So it's really important for us to know about to save this entire ecosystem, starting from a very small phytoplankton. So that's what the metaphor is saying. If we will take care about a very small thing in the world, the big thing will fall into place. And finally, they are walking into ocean. So when they are heading back, they are basically stuck between two islands. The one in the stretch of ice between the peninsula and the Tadpole Island, as they are moving towards south. So they are planning to move towards north. But before that, the captain is engaging the 52 members to get down and head towards and walk on the ice. So basically, they're walking on the ocean, which is 1 meter thick, which is consisting of 1 meter thick ice, and below which we are having the complete habitation of the ocean. And the author was able to relate the stray dog, which will be under a banyan tree, with a seal, which is under the sunlight. So he was able to connect the particular things happening across the world. So finally, the author leaves a note that after crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and a lot of ecosystems, he's wondering about the beauty of the balance of the world, that like how it would have been if the Antarctic Ocean, like Antarctic continent as a whole, was completely warm rather than being a cold one, and he's unable to imagine what could have happened if that's the case. Like we might become extinct as well. And moving forward, finally he leaves a note that the teenagers who have been involved in this particular program are still having the belief that the idea of conserving the world again can possibly be uh, implemented again, but to make that happen, which can also even take millennia, a day will definitely make a difference. So that's what finally Miss or Mr. Tishani Doshi is describing all about in this chapter, Journey to the End of Earth. So we'll enter into certain extra questions. I'm not gonna do like it's important to know questions from this particular chapter, right? Answering them in terms of the context. It's a chapter completely dedicated towards the welfare. It's a factual chapter, it's a database chapter, something like that, which means that we'll have an importance in terms of facts. So writing this chapter will not be a very difficult task as far as what we have been concerned. So we are having a summary, that's fine. So we're having the summary. Okay, they're directly entering into the long answer type questions. Fine. Wait a minute. Just hold on. Journey to the End of Earth by Edu Mantra. So I'm basically referring to this particular website named Edu Mantra, which has certain quality questions, and I think I'm missing it out somewhere over here. I think this particular summary will be more than enough to answer any type of questions. So like, yeah, okay, fine. We will try answering these questions first. How do geological phenomena help us to know about the history of mankind? So that's what they're asking. Like, how could geographical phenomena will be able to explain the mankind's history? So we'll just think like geographical phenomena, uh, like it's one of the important factors, because what happened to the continents earlier will only decide the habitation of animals in different parts of the world. Like certain parts of the world will definitely have a different type of exposure, whether towards the sun, towards wind, or towards ice, towards temperature. That particular range will differ from place to place, and according to that particular place, the one which are able to survive, the survival of the fittest at that particular place will only decide the geological phenomena. So that's what we are trying to say. That's actually ஹியூமன் கைண்டோட ஃப்யூச்சருக்கான என்னென்ன இண்டிகேஷன்ஸ்லாம் இந்த பர்டிகுலர் சாப்டர்லேருந்து வருது அப்படின்றத நம்ம வந்து ஆன்சர் பண்ண போகிறோம். A fast and steady rise, yeah, a fast and steady rise in human population in proportion to the limited natural resources is exerting pressure on the land. So first point, we are indicating that the human population is rising, which means the limited resources which are available on earth is being pressurized on the land. Forests are being cut, fossil fuels are being burned. These factors increasing the global temperatures, melting of the glaciers, depletion of ozone layer, global warming are endangering man's existence. So basically, so we are basically exhausting all the available resources, implies that we are creating a lot of imbalance in the world. So finally, all these effects aftermaths are creating a change in the climatic, it creates climatic changes, drastic climatic changes. It leads to melting of glaciers, depletion of ozone layer, obviously, which means the the plant habitation will definitely be like exploited a lot in a wrong manner, in a more unwanted manner, which means all these factors accumulating together will finally it will lead to the endangering of the man's existence. That's what they're trying to say. Next question. How did the Antarctica amaze the writer when he first saw it? So, first of all, when the writer entered it, he was first amazed by its vastness and immense white landscape. It was an endless blue horizon, and the fact that it was isolated from the rest of the world created an added sense of wonder and mystery about the continent. So basically, he's describing about the vastness, how far it is without even a single habitation. It's an endless blue horizon. He couldn't see any end of this world, of this particular place, which is one in one perspective it's wondrous. At the same time, it's chilling experience as well. I think we can add that point as well. And he's wondering how it is isolated from the rest of the world, and it's adding a wonder, a sense of balance to the world as well. That's what he has said in the final part of the story, so that point can also be added, I think. Yeah. And why was Tishani Doshi filled with relief and wonder when she set foot on the Antarctic continent? So basically, Tishani Doshi's first emotion when he set foot on the Antarctic continent was one of relief. So the first emotion was that he was relieved. Okay, he felt relief to set foot because he was traveling for over 100 years, and when he saw the vastness and the immense white landscape of and the blue horizon, which was endless, and how it was isolated from the rest of the world, it created a wondrous experience for him. So that's what we'll have to write over here. Why is Antarctica the place to go if we want to study the Earth's past, present, future? So basically, the Antarctica landmass, which was amalgamated to the southern supercontinent called the Gondwana, dates back to 650 million years. It can help us understand better the formation of continents and mountains like the Himalayas as they are in the modern world. Sorry for the interruption again. I'm having certain connectivity issues over here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry. What sort of brightness and silence prevailed in Antarctica during summer? So basically, the brightness prevailed in Antarctica was surreal. Yeah, continuing that, moving towards the next question. What do you think is the reason behind the success of the program, The Students on Ice? The program Students on Ice was success because it offered a life-changing exposure to the future generation of policymakers at an age when they could absorb, learn and act. ஸோ பேசிக்கலி சக்ஸஸ் ஆஃப் த ப்ரோக்ராம் வந்துட்டு அதோட மெயின் ரீசன் என்னென்னா, basically none of the humans were able to take people towards the south end or the northern end of the earth, and to make them experience the actual effects of global warming, that is the carving of the ice sheets, the breaking of the icebergs in real time. Making them experience that will actually create much more of sense than just providing with them facts when they are sitting in their comfort zone. And that's the actual success of the program. It provided them with the inspiring educational opportunities which foster new understanding. These are all fine, but the actual fact is that we'll have to talk about how they are having a real-time experience in while they're while they're entering into the ends of the world. So that's what the reason behind the success. Why does the author of Journey to End of the Earth state in the 12,000 year man has managed to create a ruckus? yeah, basically we have been able to create a ruckus by creating uh, cities, mega cities, increasing populations. The increasing population has definitely depleted the natural resources, for which we are fighting with other species, like leads for the other species to become extinct. And these are the things that are happening, repeatedly for over a period of time, which means they have created a ruckus on this earth. So yeah, how was Antarctica a chilling prospect for the southern Indian? Because basically Tishani Doshi, he or she was, I think that's, yeah, we can write it as Tishani Doshi is a sun worshipping South Indian, and for her to spend 2 weeks in a place where 90% of the ice is present, 90% of Earth's ice is present, is a chilling prospect, not for circulatory and metabolic, but for also for the imagination. That's what, it's a chilling prospect for South India. Uh, so basically now we have the long answer type questions where we are asked to talk about the program students on ice, the world's geological history that is trapped in it, and what are phytoplanktons, how it is important for our ecosystem, and talking about the chilling prospect. And then we have Tishani Doshi. Okay, call her trip to Earth's. Okay, okay, journey to the end of the fine. And finally, in what ways is the research and analytical helpful in study and understanding of it? So for all these questions, the main theme is that we'll have to talk about the Earth's extinction. I mean, the Earth extinction due to the human civilization, like how they are creating ruckus in the world, and how Antarctica is becoming an important aspect in the debate of climatic changes and all. And the other point is about the students on ice program and how is it creating an inspiration sensation, how it has become successful, how it is started, and how Antarctica having carbon records is isolated from the world, uh, having a simple environment showing bigger changes in the effect, in the like world, something like that. All these points put together will have to be listed out in all these questions, so that uh, we are basically covering up every nook and corner of the chapter. And I think that's all we'll have to see in this chapter. These are the previous year questions that we have seen. I think these are more sensible questions, and these are more than sufficient, and that's the max they can ask from these chapters. So I think we can end this session one of the day, and we can continue with the next session after by 10 o'clock. Yeah.